Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are currently doing revision course for UPSC CSAT 2024. We have already done algebra. We already covered most of the topics for arithmetic. Today is going to be the last video on arithmetic and we are going to learn two topics, that is ratio and time and work. If you have not seen the last videos, I would highly recommend you start with video number 1, then 2 and then come to video number 3. So this is just a building process. In each level, you are learning something new to build upon what you have already learned. Okay. So let's start with today's topic, that is ratios and time and work. First thing, what exactly is ratio? I'm pretty sure you must have learned this thing, ratios. Ratios look something like this: 2 ratio 3, 5 ratio 6. So what does this ratio means? Ratio is shown with a colon. So this sign is a ratio. So what exactly does ratio means? Ratio is comparison between two things. Suppose there is a thing A and there is thing B. In terms of their magnitude, means how big or large A is as compared to B. Right? Suppose someone says that the ratio of an elephant to a human is, suppose, just an example, suppose 800 kg is the elephant and suppose an average man is 80 kgs. Just an example, right? So someone will say that ratio between the weights of elephant and a human is 800 ratio 80, or we can divide both by 8, or solve it, and you will get a ratio 10 ratio 1. Means the size of elephant as compared to a human being is 10 ratio 1. I hope you understand what ratio is. This is just a comparison between two quantities in terms of their magnitude. A good example could be the population of US and India. Suppose a population of US is around 33 million, and India's population right now is around 140 million, right? Is it so? Sorry, 333 and 1,400 million. This is about right now. This is the current population of two countries. So what is the ratio of population of two countries? So the ratio of population of two countries will be something like 3 ratio 1400. I hope it is. I hope you are ready. You have understood this thing. And what? And let's go back to elephant human being example. What does 10 ratio 1 means? This means for every 1 unit of human, there are 10 unit of an elephant. Right? This is how you compare two things. Ratio definition is clear. Now, ratio is given to you 3 ratio 4. How to convert it into a decimal and how to convert it to a percentage? This is just a revision of what we have already learned in percentages, but let's learn here. So 3 ratio 4 can also be written as 3 by 4. This is another way of writing a ratio. To convert it into a decimal, right? To convert it into a decimal, what are you going to do? You just divide 3 by 4. You will get as 0.75. So write 3 ratio 4 as 3 by 4 and then do the division and you will get the answer in decimals. So 0.75, right? So what does exactly 0.75 means? 0.75 is 0.75 ratio 1. So this shows if 3 ratio 4 and 0.75 ratio 1 are the same. That means every one quantity of B, there are 0.75 quantity of A. Right? So this is how you convert a ratio to a decimal. Now percentages. How to convert ratio into percentage? Please recall it from the percentage video. A fraction is given to you. You multiply it by 100. You multiply it by 100. You will get an answer as 75%. And this is how you convert a fraction to a percentage. I hope things are clear. Very basic. Two things you need to know. Ratios are comparison between two things. Ratio are represented using a colon sign, 3 ratio 4. 3 ratio 4 could also be written in fraction form, that is 3 by 4. And you could either convert it into a decimal or convert it into a percentage. Basic of ratios are clear. Now moving on. There are few properties of ratio. Suppose the ratio is given to you 3:4. Can I write it as like this, 3/4? Simple. So if you multiply the numerator and denominator, means you multiply numerator by a and multiply denominator by the same quantity a. Multiply numerator by a quantity and multiply denominator by the same quantity. In the end, you are going to get simply the same fraction or same ratio, because this will cancel out. So numerator and denominator when multiplied with the same quantity, ratio remains same. Means there is no effect on ratio if numerator and denominator are multiplied by the same quantity. And similarly, if 3/4 is divided by the same quantity, numerator, suppose divide numerator by a and divide denominator by a. In all this case also, you will get the same ratio. Means if you multiply the denominator or divide the denominator by the same quantity, you are going to get the same ratio. So nothing is going to change that in that part. I hope it is clear. Now, there's another property, this you have to remember. If a1 by b1 ratio is equal to a2 by b2 is equal to a3 by b3. I'm going to stop here. Recall where you have already seen this thing. We have already covered in the revision course at some one place. Please recall if you are able to. This is what we have learnt in the case of linear equation. If a1 by b1 is equal to a2 by b2 is equal to a3 by b3, then the equation is going to have a infinite solutions. Please watch that video again if you have not able to recall that. So this is just a side note. Now coming back to this. If a1 by b1 is equal to a2 by b2 is equal to a3 by b3 is equal to a4 by b4 and so on. So you can add all the numerators, a1 plus a2 plus a3 and all the numerators divided by, add all the denominators you can. So this is also going to be equal to any of the fractions. If a1 by b1 is equal to a2 by b2 is equal to a3 by b3 and so on. So suppose, I hope you understand 2 by 3 is a ratio. Suppose, what did I tell you? Multiply the numerator and denominator by the same quantity. The ratio is going to stay the same. Property number 1. So I'm going to multiply the numerator by 2 and multiply denominator by 2. So 4 by 6. So these two ratios are equal. That is by property number 1. And by property number 2, if I add all the numerators, that is 2 plus 4, and all the denominator, that is 3 plus 6, what are you going to get here? The thing you are going to get here is 6 by 9, and solving this you are again going to get 2 by 3. So first second property holds, right? The two properties are clear. Now let's move to some question, and these are the base. This is one of the easiest question on ratios. So ratio of salaries of Ronaldo and Messi are in ratio 2:3. So the salary of two players, that is Ronaldo and Messi, are in ratio 2:3. First thing, if this ratio is given to you, can you tell who earns more? Obviously Messi. So if Messi is earning 3 rupees, Ronaldo is earning 2 rupees. So 2:3 represent that Messi is earning right now more. Now, the savings ratio, their savings ratio of Ronaldo and Messi is 4:5. Till now, I hope it is clear. Now, do you remember that we have already learned that salary of a person consists of two things: savings of the person plus expenses of a person. Means how much he is spending in a month plus how much is saved is equal to the total salary. This formula we have already learned in the last videos, and we are going just repeating that here. So salary is equal to saving plus expenses. So salary of Ronaldo and Messi are in 2:3. So Ronaldo and Messi, you can write the salary of two people is, you can take a common, as already told you, you can multiply the numerator and denominator by same quantity. So let the salary of Ronaldo is 2x. So the Messi salary will be 3x. Savings. Since it's a totally different quantity, you cannot use x here. Use a different variable. So suppose the savings of Messi is 4y, the savings of Ronaldo is 4y, the saving of Messi will be 5y. I hope it is clear. Now expenses is equal to salary minus saving, that is 2x minus 4y, and Messi's is 3x minus 5y. I hope it is clear. 2x minus 4y is the expense of Ronaldo, 3x minus 5y is the expense of Messi. So 2x minus 4y is given to you in the question is rupees 400. 3x minus 5y is equal to rupees 600. You can solve for x and y. So whatever x and y you get, put it here. 2x is equal to whatever x value you will get, 2x of that will be the salary of Ronaldo. 3x of that will be salary of Messi. 4y will be 4 into y, whatever y you are going to get, that is going to be the savings of Ronaldo, and 5y is going to be the savings of Messi. I hope it is clear. Moving on to the next part. Here what do we have? They say the salary of 3 people are given to us, A, B, C. So ratio of salary between 3 and 4 is 3:5. Salary ratio between B and C is 4:11. Right? Now, 3:5 is salary ratio between A and B, and 4:11 is the salary ratio between what? B and C. Now they are asking for A ratio C. See, you cannot simply say A ratio C is equal to 3:11. Why? Because B are not equal. First thing is you have to make B in both the equation equal so that you can compare A and C. Why? How? Let's see. If I have to make B 5 equal to this 2 B's equal, first thing I have to multiply this by 4 and multiply this by 5. So if you multiply this by 4, you will get 20. Multiply this by 5, you will get 20. So I hope this is clear. So if you multiply first one by 4 and second one by 5, you get 20. So B becomes equal. So remember property number 1. If you multiply numerator and denominator by the same quantity, so I am multiplying here 4 as well. So you'll get 12 here. And I am multiplying 5 here because numerator and denominator same. So it will be 55. So now we have 3 quantities, 12A, 20B and 55C. Now since B can be compared for both, I hope you understand, since B is equal for both, now we can say the ratio between A and C will be 12:55. So ratio between A and C could only be found if B is made to be same. So the answer is 12:55. I hope it is clear, right? Moving on to the next part, find the ratio between A, B and C. Find the ratio between A, B and C. So now what do we have? We have minus 2A plus 4B plus 3C is equal to 0. A minus 3B plus 5C is equal to 0. So two equations are given to us and they have asked us what is the ratio between A ratio, B ratio, C. This is a little tricky question, and they are not going to ask you directly in the exam like this two equations given to you. They will say something, they are going to have a big statements, and then you can, by reading the statement, you can form these two equations. One thing is clear, that by reading the two equations, I could form these equations. Now I have to solve it. First thing is, in linear equation, we have already learned, if we have number of variables equal to 3, then we need at least 3 equations to solve that. But here, we have less than 3, that is only 2 equations. So we cannot solve it for unique solution. We can only find the ratio. How? We will see. So first thing, the above statement, can I write it like this? 2A, taking 2A on the other side is 4B plus 3C. And here, taking A on one side, so I will get 3B minus 5C. I hope it is clear. Now, multiply 2 on both sides for this equation, 6B minus 5C. I hope this is clear. We have two equations, and what have we done till now? We have taken A on one side and then equate A and made A equal in both the cases. So since A is equal in both the cases, we can say the right hand side will be equal to each other. So 4b plus 3c is equal to 6b minus 5c. This is okay. So taking c on one side, that is 8c is equal to 10b. 8c is equal to 10b. And then what you can solve it, solve more. So you get b by c is equal to 8 by 10. That is 4 by 5. So b ratio c is equal to 4 by 5. One part is done. No problem here, right? Second part, b ratio c is covered, 4 ratio 5. Now second part, what I am going to do, for this second part, I am going to use an equation whichever I like. Suppose I use second equation. A is equal to 3b minus 5c. A is equal to, what can I write? B. B is equal to 4 by 5c minus 5c. From where did I get? I got it from here. Solving it, this is 12c by 5 minus 5c. A is equal to 5 base 12c minus 25c. This is minus 13c by 5. So A ratio c is equal to minus 13 by 5. I hope it is clear. Might have done a calculation mistake, but you have understood that how did we do it. We put in the value of b and we got the ratio between A and C. Now C is the same. Now I write A ratio, B ratio, C. Since C is same in both the ratios, that C will be 5. This part is clear. Then what is the value of A? A is minus 13 and B is 4. So that is the answer. I hope it is clear how to solve ratios when two equations are given to you and three variables. This is the way. Now comparing two ratio, 5 ratio 6 and 8 ratio 9 are given to you. 5 ratio 6 and 8 ratio 9 are given to you. Someone is asking you which one is greater, 5 ratio 6 or 8 by 9. There are multiple ways. First way is you already know. You can do the decimal of it. If you do the decimal of it, you are going to get 0.8 something 3, or this one could be 0.99798 is 72. Sorry, 0.88 I guess. So looks like the second equation is greater than first equation. 0.88 versus 0.83. How do we check with other methods? First method is make numerator same. To make the numerator same, 5 by 6 and 8 by 9. How can we make numerator same? By multiplying first 5 by 6 with 8 on numerator and denominator. So I am multiplying 8 on both of these here and multiplying 5 on here, right? So 8 5 is 40 by 8 6 is 48, and the second equation is 8 5 is 40 divided by 9 5 is 45. I hope it is clear. So since the numerator are same, the higher the denominator, the lower the value. Please note it down. In this case, if numerator is same, higher denominator, lower the value. Which one has higher denominator? 48. So it will be lower than 45 one. First method is clear. Now moving to the second method, 5 by 6 and 8 by 9. Now make denominator same. To make denominator same, I multiply this by 9, multiply this by 9, multiply this by 6, multiply this by 6. So 9 5 is 45 by 9 6 is 54. 8 6 is 48 divided by 9 6 is 54. So if the denominator is same, higher numerator, higher value. Please note this down. Higher numerator, higher value. So if the denominator is same, numerator higher, the value is higher. So this will be greater. Please make the difference, note the difference here. When the denominator is same, higher the numerator, higher the value. But when the numerator is same, lower the denominator, higher the value. I hope it is clear. Third part, cross multiplication method, 5 by 6, 8 by 9. Simplest of all. What are you going to do? You do the cross multiplication. So 9 will go on that side. So it will be 5 into 9 is equal to 45 and 8 into 6 is equal to 48. So which is bigger? This one is bigger. So obviously the 8 by 9 will be bigger than 5 by 6. So three methods we have discussed: making numerator same, making denominator same, and cross multiplication method. I hope this is clear. Moving on to the next part. Ratios are done. Now we are going to do the time and work. This topic is not liked by a lot of aspirants because they find it tricky. But if you are able to learn the basics, believe me, like 80% of the questions you will be able to solve. Those remaining 20% difficult questions, again, I cannot emphasize it more. Don't chase behind difficult stuff. Focus on your strength and build on that. And just stick to the basics, of which you know that you need to know the basics. If difficult question comes, you don't need to worry about it, because 95 to 99 people are not 99% of people are not going to solve it. So don't worry, right? So let's start with time and work. In time and work, we are going to learn about building and destroying stuff, right? So first definition is efficiency. How efficient I am. If I'm sure you have must have heard about it, that someone is studying 16 hours a day, but toppers always say that they read 6 hours a day only, study 6 hours a day. Why are they successful? Because they are more efficient. They know what to learn, what to read, and what not to read, and devote full attention to those things they are studying, right? So that is why they say efficiency is better than working hard. Means you need, obviously working hard is good, but if you are efficient, that is a bonus. You need to be very smart to be efficient. So efficient is rate of doing work. How efficient are you? So more efficient you are, more the work you will be able to do, or lesser number of days you will need to complete. So if a person is efficient, he will be able to complete the syllabus, UPSC syllabus, very early. Then he will be ready with doing mock tests. Then he will be ready with doing PYQs. So an efficient person will be able to complete the task in less time. And two things: positive work and negative work. Positive work is a good thing, means you are building a house, you are building a wall, you are filling a tank. Negative work is you are destroying the house, you are destroying the wall, you are taking water out of the tank, right? So you are draining the tank. So difference is positive work means you are adding water to a tank, and negative work is you are draining out the water from the tank, right? So positive work is adding and negative work is destroying. Third thing, total work done is equal to work done per day into number of days to complete the work. This equation is very important. We are going to use it again and again. So you have to understand it. Suppose I say the total work is 1, means 1 unit of work you have to do. You take how many days, I don't care, but 1 is the unit of work you have to do. 1 could be 1 could be anything. 1 could be 100 kg of work or whatever. 1 unit of work is the total work you need to do. Suppose you say I can only I can only complete half of the total work in a day. Half of the total work in a day. So how many days you will need to complete the work? So you are going to do half today and half tomorrow, and you are going to complete the work in 2 days. So right? So by this equation, x is equal to 2. Suppose instead of 2, I say I am not that efficient. I can only do 1 by 4th work in a day. Means suppose this is a book of Lakshmikant Polity. I say I can only complete 1/4 of the book in a day. How many days I will be able to complete? I need to complete a whole book. So I will need 4 days to complete. How? Using this equation. I hope it is clear. 1 is equal to total work. 1 by 4 is the amount of work I can do in a day. So 4 days is the days I need to complete the work. Now in this question, we'll see how we are going to use it. A can complete one work, one full work in X days. A completes one full work in X days. So A complete one full work in X days. Then second part, in X days, how much work A can complete? A can complete one work. I hope it is clear. So in X days, A can complete one full work. So in one day, in a single day, how much work he can do? He can do 1 upon X, 1 by X. So A can complete work in X days. So in one day he can complete how much work? If 1 is a total work, he can complete 1 by X. B can complete whole the total work in Y days. So he will complete only 1 by Y work in one day. So total work is 1. Total work is 1. If X only is doing the work, he can complete it 1 by X days. Oh, 1 by X work in one day. This is a equation we have learned just now. B can complete whole work in Y days. So he will be completing one full work in Y days. So now, next part is, if they both work together, how much work they can complete in one day? They will be doing this much work. Work of X, that is 1 by X, plus work of Y, that is 1 by Y. So this is the total work they can do in one day. This is the thing you need to know for now. Moving on. Work done by 3 people. A can complete X, work in X days. So in one day he will be able to complete 1 by X. B can complete work in Y days. So he will be doing 1 by Y in one day. C can complete work in Z day, but he is not completing. He is destroying the whole work. Means he can destroy a complete wall, a complete house in Z days. So he will be destroying how much house in one day? Minus of 1 by Z. Right? So A can complete one full work in X days. So he will be doing 1 by X in one day. B will be doing 1 by Y in one day. Z or Z will be doing minus 1 by Z because he is destroying the work. So total work by them in one day will be 1 by X plus 1 by Y minus 1 by Z. That's all you need to know. Right? Let's solve a question on this and you will understand it better. If A can complete work in 10 days, how much work he can complete in one day? 1 by 10. We have already learned. B can complete in total work if he is working alone in 20 days. He will be doing 1 by 20 work in one day. A will be doing 1 by 10 work. B will be doing 1 by 20 work. If they both work together, so they will be doing how much work in one day? In one day they will be doing 1 by 10 of A plus 1 by 20 of B. So they will be doing in one day how much work? 20. 2 plus 1, that is 3 by 20. So 3 by 20 is the total amount of work they will be doing in a day. So remember that equation, work is equal to work per day. I'm just removing this section. Work per day multiply, just 2 slides back we have learned this, into number of days. So total work is how much? 1 is equal to work done per day 3 by 20 into number of days they will be needing together. So solving this, you will get 20 by 3, that is 6.6 days. So if A is working alone, he will complete the work in 10 days. B working alone, he will complete the work in 20 days. But they come together, they will complete the work in just 6 days. Right? And that's a good thing. Moving on. A can complete the work in 10 days. So 1 by 10. B complete in 20 days. He will be completing 1 by 20. But side by side, C is destroying the wall. So he will be destroying it. So minus 1 by 12. So solving this, 120, that is 12 plus 6 minus 10. So that is 18, 8 by 120. Right? 8 by 120. I hope I'm doing it right. So solving this 4, 8, 8, 15. So 1 by 15. So 1 by 15 work done per day by all three of them together. So putting that in equation, work is equal to work per day into number of days. Work is 1 is equal to work per day is 15. 1 by 15 into number of days. So number of days they will be doing taking to complete the work will be 15 days, right? So can complete the work in 10 days. B can complete the work in 20 days. So they should have been done, if only A and B were working, they should complete the work in 6 days, right? That is what we have seen in the last question. But since C is the one who is destroying the wall, they are putting a brick, he is removing the brick. So they will be needing 15 days in total to complete this work, right? So B is not helping. B is destroying the work. So B is doing a negative work. I hope this thing is clear to you. What is a negative work? Now, moving on to the last topic in work and time, that is work done equation. So work done equation, when you are comparing the same scenario, means I'm pretty sure you have seen such question that if 6 people are working, they complete the work in 5 days. How many people will it take to complete the work in 10 days? Something like this, right? So you need to learn the full work equation to solve such question. So work done is, I'm just putting an equal sign, but it is actually proportional. I'm just making it easy. So work done is equal to number of men into number of days. They are in the numerator and not in the denominator. Why? Because more the men, more the work. More number of days, more work. So the work done is directly proportional to number of men, means more men, more work, and work done is equal to proportional to number of days. So you have more number of days, you will be able to do more work, right? So going by this logic, work is proportional to men into days, right? So you can write it like this: m1 into d1 is equal to m2 equal to d2, or you can say m into d is constant, right? So now let's solve this question. If 20 men can do the work in 35 days, how many men can complete the work in 28 days? If 20 men can complete the work in 35 days, that is situation number 1, then how many men, that is m2, can complete the work in 28 days? So m2 is equal to 20 into 35 by 28, and you can solve it, and that is what, how many men you will need to complete the work in 20 days. This is just the first form of work done equation. Now we are going continuing with the work done equation. We have learned the relation of number of men with work done, number of days, hours per days. Now comes the efficiency. So more men means more work they can do. More days means number of more work they can do. Hours, more hours, more work they can do. So efficiency is also proportional. So more efficient you are, more work you can do. So number of men into number of days into number of time per day into efficiency of 1 is equal to m2 d2 t2 e2. So number 20 men into 35 days into 6 hours per day into efficiency, we will check later. And how many days? 24 boys. So 24 boys are on the other side. Number of days we need to calculate. Time per day is 9 hours per day, and efficiency we don't know. Now if you read the last line, it says the men work twice as fast as boys. So men are twice as efficient as boys. So the efficiency of men is 2, the efficiency of boys is 1, right? I hope it is clear. The efficiency, how efficiency comes in the equation. So 20, solving this, you will get the number of days it will need for boys to complete the work, right? I hope you understand work done equation. Now moving on to the last topic, that is pipes and cisterns. Means we are going to solve the question similarly for pipes and cistern. The only thing is, whenever a pipe is adding water to a tank, suppose the pipe is adding water to a tank, it is doing a positive work. When there is a opening which is draining out the water from the tank, it is doing a negative work. So adding water to the tank is similar to building a wall. Taking out water from the tank is like destroying the wall. So we have positive work here, negative work here. So this is similar question what we have already learned. Suppose a question is given to you that a pipe can fill water in a tank in 5 hours. Fill if only that pipe is opened which can fill the tank it will take 5 hours. But if drainage is open, it will take suppose 8 hours to empty the tank. Now 5 hours the pipe is putting in, so 5 hours is the positive work, 8 hours to empty the tank is negative work. So now how much how many hours the water will be full? So water will be full means total work need to be done is 1. So 1 by 5 is the amount of work done by input pipe, and minus 1 by 8 is the amount of work that is done by the exit pipe. So you calculate the amount of work they will do in 1 hour. So 40, 5 8 the 40 minus 8, 8 5 the, so 3 by 40. So 3 by 40 is the work they will doing per hour. So the equation is, I hope you remember this equation, work is equal to work per hour into number of hours means time. So work is 1, that is 3 by 40 into hours. So hours needed for the work to complete is 40 by 3, that is 13.3 hours. So 13.3 hours it will take to fill the tank completely. So they can also ask, there are, instead of one pipe, there are 2 pipes who are putting in the water, but 1 pipe is draining out. Or there could be 2 pipes draining out and 1 would be putting in. So any combination of pipes they could give, but the basics is the same. I hope you understand the pipes and cistern part as well. So that completes our arithmetic portion as well. Here we have completed the whole arithmetic section in just 3 videos of around 1 hour 15 minutes or 1.5 hours. So not much, but it's a good practice for you to revise the whole section in just 3 hours, right? So after this we'll be doing number system. Then our next plan after number system, our plan is to do DILR, data interpretation and logical reasoning through PYQs, right? So DILR is not, there is no substantial theory that you need to learn. Every question carries a different logic, but if you understand the basic correctly, so that is why we have decided to go through PYQs, because PYQs are going to give you a good picture of which type of DILR questions they could ask you in the exam. So our algebra is done, arithmetic is done. So next video will be number system. Until then, focus on your preparation. Please do the revision video. And again, if you are not focusing on this, if you really want to clear the exam, this is just a bonus, right? This is not a guarantee. What the guarantee is to solve the exam is the previous year questions. If even if you start today till the exam, you have like 40 days, right? You even are, if you are able to solve last 5-year previous year question full CSAT exam, believe me, you are in the best, you are in the 90th percentile. You are better than 90% of the aspirants, right? So focus on previous year questions and do these revision videos at your own pace, and we'll meet in the next video. Till then, best of luck for your preparation.